The hand grabbed her skirt. Hard. Autumn Reeves didn't flinch. She didn't scream. She just stood there in the empty parking lot, feeling Chase Morrison's fingers twist the fabric, hearing his friends laugh behind him. The October wind whipped across Westbrook Academy's asphalt, carrying the smell of rain and something else. Fear. But not hers. "I warned you," Chase hissed through perfect white teeth. His breath smelled like energy drinks and privilege. Every new girl learns her place, even dead mommy's precious princess. That's when time slowed down. Autumn heard her mother's voice, clear as spring water, soft as silk, sharp as steel. "When someone takes your dignity, Habibi, you take their ability to ever do it again." Her hand moved, fast, faster than thought. She grabbed his wrist, twisted, and crack! The sound echoed across the parking lot like a gunshot. Chase Morrison, 6'2" of varsity quarterback muscle, dropped to his knees. His scream cut through the afternoon air. His wrist bent at an angle wrists shouldn't bend. But let's go back. 3 weeks back, to when Autumn Reeves first walked into Westbrook Academy, not knowing she was walking into hell. The cafeteria hummed with teenage energy that Monday morning. Autumn sat alone at a corner table, picking at a sad-looking salad. She'd been at Westbrook Academy for exactly 3 days. 3 days of empty chairs around her. 3 days of whispers that stopped when she walked by. 3 days of something being very, very wrong. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through old photos. There was Mom in her IDF uniform, standing proud in the Negev desert. There was Mom teaching 8-year-old Autumn her first Krav Maga stance. There was Mom, bald from chemo, still smiling, still fighting, until she couldn't anymore. If you're feeling that rush of what's going to happen next, hit that like button. It really helps more people discover these stories. And if you want to share where you're watching from, drop it in the comments below. For those who want to support more stories like this one, there's a thanks button right under this video. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps me bring you more inspiring tales of courage and standing up for what's right. Thank you for being here. Now, let's see what happens when push comes to shove. 6 months. It had been 6 months since the funeral. 6 months since Dad decided they needed a fresh start in Denver. 6 months of pretending everything was fine when nothing would ever be fine again. Fresh meat. Autumn looked up. 4 boys stood around her table. The one who spoke had that specific kind of confidence that came from never hearing the word no. Blonde hair, blue eyes, jawline that belonged on a movie poster. His Westbrook Academy letterman jacket had Morrison stitched on the back. "Chase Morrison," he said, like she should be impressed. "Welcome, committee." The other 3 laughed. Not a nice laugh, the kind of laugh hyenas make before they eat something smaller than them. "I run things here," Chase continued, sliding into the seat across from her without asking. "Every new student gets evaluated, ranked. It's tradition." He pulled out his phone, angled it toward her. "Smile for the database." Autumn didn't smile. She didn't move. She just stared at him with eyes that had seen her mother die slowly, painfully, bravely. Eyes that didn't have room for fear of teenage boys anymore. "I said smile." His voice got harder. "No." The word hung in the air like a challenge. The cafeteria noise seemed to dim. Students at nearby tables turned to watch. Chase's perfect face twisted. "Excuse me. I said no. N-O, no." Move along, one of his friends, a smaller kid with too much gel in his hair, whispered. Dude, she doesn't know who you are. Oh, she'll learn. Chase stood up slowly. Logan, did you get her picture? The third boy, Logan Fitzgerald, according to his jacket, held up his phone. Got it. She's about a 4, maybe a 3 with that attitude. The ranking system. Autumn's voice stayed calm, but her hands clenched under the table. That's your big power move, rating girls like cattle. Chase leaned down, close enough that she could see the little scar above his left eyebrow. Every girl in this school has a ranking, 1 to 10. It determines everything. Who you sit with, who talks to you, who dates you, your whole social existence. He straightened up, addressing the growing crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Westbrook Academy's newest addition to the female ranking database. Let's see, trashy clothes, zero style, bad attitude. He pretended to think. I'm feeling generous. She's a 2. The crowd reacted. Some laughed. Some looked uncomfortable. A few girls looked at Autumn with something like pity. But Autumn stood up, slowly, deliberately. She was 5'6", a full 8 inches shorter than Chase. But something in the way she moved made him step back. Let me explain something, she said, voice carrying across the now silent cafeteria. Where I come from, we have a word for boys who need to rank girls to feel powerful. We call them pathetic. She picked up the ranking list one of them had dropped on her table, held it up so everyone could see. Then, maintaining eye contact with Chase, she tore it in half, then quarters, then eighths. The pieces fluttered to the floor like snow. Your little system, your little power trip. It ends when someone says no. And I'm saying no. She walked out, leaving 4 stunned boys and 200 witnesses behind. That night, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. You just made the biggest mistake of your Westbrook career. See you tomorrow. CM. Attached was a photo. Her face badly photoshopped onto a body that wasn't hers, in a pose that made her stomach turn. The caption read, Westbrook's newest addition, available for ranking. Autumn stared at the screen. Her hands didn't shake. Her breathing stayed even. Her mother had taught her that fear was just information, and this information told her war had been declared. She opened her laptop and started typing. First, a screenshot of the message. Then, a search for Colorado cyberbullying laws. Then, something else, something that would matter later. She created a new email account, Westbrook Truth 2024. What are you doing up so late, sweetheart? Her father stood in her doorway, still in his work clothes. Christopher Reeves was a good man who'd aged 10 years in the last 6 months. His engineering firm's transfer to Denver was supposed to be their fresh start. He had no idea what his daughter was facing. Just homework, Dad. Making friends. The lie came easy. Yeah, everyone's really nice. He smiled, relieved. That's great. Your mom would be proud. You know that. Right. I know, Dad. After he left. Autumn looked at the photo of her mother on her nightstand. Staff Sergeant Sarah Reeves, Israeli Defense Forces, Special Operations. The woman who'd survived 3 tours in Lebanon, only to be killed by cancer at 42. I remember everything you taught me, Mom, she whispered. Everything. Tuesday came like a punishment. Autumn's locker had been decorated overnight. The word 2 was spray-painted in red across the metal. Photos were taped everywhere. The photoshopped one from last night, printed in high quality. A crowd had gathered to see her reaction. She didn't give them one. She simply opened her locker, ignoring the paint, and got her books. But inside, she memorized every face that was laughing, every phone that was recording, every person who thought this was entertainment. Maintenance will clean that up. Vice Principal Hughes appeared, looking harried. I'll need you to file a report about the vandalism. Will you check the security cameras? Autumn asked. Oh, those have been malfunctioning in this hallway all week. Budget cuts, you know. Autumn almost smiled. Almost. The son of the principal. And suddenly, cameras stopped working. How convenient. Chemistry class was worse. Her lab stool had been coated with clear glue. She discovered this by sitting down and feeling her skirt stick to the seat. The snickers started immediately. Problem 2, Chase called from across the room. Stuck on something, Mrs. Patterson, the chemistry teacher, suddenly became very interested in writing formulas on the board. Another adult, who knew exactly what was happening and chose to see nothing. Autumn stood up, hearing fabric tear. The back of her skirt now had a hole. More laughter. More phones out. She could leave, give them the reaction they wanted. Or, she took off her jacket, tied it around her waist, and sat back down on the glue-covered stool. No problem at all, she said clearly, though whoever wasted lab supplies on a prank should probably pay for them. What's the going rate for industrial adhesive? Mrs. Patterson, the teacher's hand paused mid-formula. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, I think you do. Autumn opened her textbook. Chapter 12. Write Chemical Bonds. The laughter died. Chase's face darkened. He wasn't used to victims who didn't play their assigned role. Wednesday brought escalation. Autumn found her gym clothes shredded in her locker. Her lunch tray was knocked from her hands, soup splattering across her last clean shirt. Her homework mysteriously disappeared from her backpack. But she didn't break, didn't cry, didn't run to the administration, who clearly wouldn't help anyway. She just watched, waited, remembered. That night, she trained in the garage. Her body remembered every move her mother had taught her. 8 years of Krav Maga, starting when she was 9. This is not for sport. Habibi, her mother had said during that first lesson. This is for survival. There may come a day when being nice isn't enough. When walking away isn't an option. When someone tries to take your dignity by force. Punch, block, knee, elbow. The movements flowed like water, each one designed for maximum damage with minimum effort. The human body has many weak points. Her mother's voice echoed in memory. Joints bend until they break. Pressure points shut down systems. A bigger opponent just means a bigger target. Thursday arrived with an ominous quiet. No vandalism, no obvious pranks, just whispers and stares, and a feeling like the calm before a storm. Autumn knew this silence. Her mother had taught her about it. The most dangerous predator is the one who stops making noise. At lunch, she noticed something new. A girl across the cafeteria kept glancing at her, not with mockery or pity, but something else. Recognition. Maybe. Understanding. The girl was pretty in an understated way. Brown hair pulled back, wearing a Westbrook Academy debate team sweater. When their eyes met, she didn't look away, Instead, she did something strange. She held up her phone, showing the screen to Autumn. On it was a single word, recording. Before Autumn could react, Chase appeared with his crew. You know what your problem is, too. He sat down uninvited again. You think you're special, think you're better than the system. But here's the thing. I've broken tougher girls than you. Have you? Autumn kept eating her apple, each bite deliberate and calm. Emma Novak, Chase said, pointing to the girl with the phone. She used to be a 9, beautiful, smart, going places. Then she said no to me. He smiled. Now she's a 2, just like you. Sits alone, no friends, no dates, no life. That's what happens when you fight the system. Emma's face stayed neutral, but Autumn saw her hand tighten on her phone. So here's my generous offer. Chase continued. Public apology, tomorrow morning. In front of everyone. Say you were wrong. You're sorry. And you accept your ranking. Do that. And this ends. The photos disappear. The pranks stop. You get to have a normal life as a 2. And if I don't, Chase's smile turned into something uglier. Tomorrow's Friday, after school, parking lot. We have a special ceremony for difficult girls. A final ranking. Let's call it very hands-on. Logan snickered. She won't show. They never do. Oh, she'll show. Chase stood up. Because if she doesn't, those photos go to her daddy, to every college she applies to every job she ever wants. He leaned on. Your dead mom can't protect you here. No one can. He walked away, leaving Autumn with her apple and her thoughts. Across the cafeteria, Emma Novak was still recording, still watching, still waiting. That night, Autumn made her choice. She pulled out a box from under her bed. Inside were her mother's things. The medals, the unit patches, the photos from deployments, and something else. A letter, written in her mother's shaky handwriting during the last days. My brave girl, it read. I won't be there for all the fights you'll face, but I've given you everything you need. Not just the moves. Anyone can learn those. I've given you the wisdom to know when to use them. Most battles are won by walking away. But some battles, the ones for your dignity, your safety, your soul, those you face head-on. Trust yourself. Trust what I taught you. And remember, the strongest warrior is the one who chooses when to fight. Autumn folded the letter carefully. Tomorrow would come with its threats and its ceremonies and its hands that grabbed what they shouldn't. But tonight, she had work to do. She opened her laptop and logged into Westbrook Truth 2024. Her inbox had 14 messages, all from girls with stories. Girls who'd been ranked. Girls who'd been grabbed. Girls who'd been broken by Chase Morrison and his system. One message stood out, from Emma Novak. I've been recording everything for 2 years, every ranking, every threat, every assault. I have 47 videos. I was waiting for someone strong enough to stand with me. Are you her? Autumn typed back. Yes, send me everything. Friday morning dawned gray and cold. Autumn dressed carefully. Dark jeans that allowed movement. Boots with grip. Hair pulled back tight. Under her jacket. The sports bra and tank top her mother had always trained in. At school. The atmosphere was electric. Word had spread. Chase Morrison's crew versus the new girl. The final ranking. Bets were being placed on how long she'd last. "You don't have to do this." Emma Novak appeared at Autumn's locker between classes. "I can release the videos now, end it without violence." "No," Autumn said. "They need to see. Everyone needs to see that bullies only have the power we give them. And I'm done giving. He'll hurt you. They always hurt the girls who fight back." Autumn smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. "My mother survived 3 wars. She taught me everything she knew. And you know what she used to say, Habibi. Some boys need to learn that no means no. And sometimes the only way they learn is when their bones remind them." The final bell rang at 3:15. Autumn walked through the halls, feeling hundreds of eyes on her. Some students followed at a distance, others already waited in the parking lot, forming a loose circle in the far corner where teachers couldn't see from the building. Chase stood in the center with 3 friends. Logan had his phone out, ready to stream. The other 2 were football players, big and confident, and used to getting what they wanted. "She actually showed," someone whispered. "This is gonna be bad," another voice said. Autumn pushed through the crowd. Her jacket was zipped. Her face was calm. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. "Center yourself. Control your breathing. See everything. Fear nothing." "Look who decided to be brave," Chase called out. The crowd laughed nervously. "Last chance. 2. Kneel. Apologize. Accept your place." "I kneel for no one." The words rang out clear and strong. Chase's face flushed red. Fine. Boys, let's show her what happens to difficult girls at Westbrook." They moved to surround her, 4 against 1. The crowd pressed closer, phones out, ready for a show. In the distance, Autumn noticed a police car parked at the burger place across the street. Officer Patricia Wong on her lunch break, watching something on her dashboard screen. Logan started live streaming. "Yo, check this out. Chase about to teach the new girls some respect. This is gonna be—" "Wait!" Emma Novak pushed through the crowd. "Everyone needs to hear something first." "Get out of here!" 2, Chase snarled. But Emma held up her phone, connected to a portable speaker. 2 years of recordings. Every girl you've hurt, every threat you've made, every time you've put your hands where they don't belong. She hit play. Chase's voice filled the parking lot. Threats, confessions, the real Chase Morrison, exposed for everyone to hear. "Turn it off." Chase lunged for her, but Emma tossed the phone to another girl, who tossed it to another. The recording kept playing. "Enough!" Chase spun back to Autumn. "You planned this. You and that bitch Emma. You think you're smart." He stepped closer. "Your dead soldier mommy isn't here. No one's coming to save you. And after we're done, you'll both be begging to be 2s. He reached for her, fast, aggressive, his hand aimed for her skirt, ready to grab, to humiliate, to demonstrate his power in front of everyone. Time slowed down. Autumn heard her mother's voice one last time, clear, calm, certain. "When they come for your dignity, Habibi, you give them something they'll never forget." Chase's fingers touched fabric. And then, crack. The sound of Chase Morrison's wrist breaking cut through the parking lot like lightning through storm clouds. His scream followed a heartbeat later. Raw and primal and nothing like the confident voice that had terrorized girls for 3 years. Autumn had moved with precision born from 8 years of muscle memory. The moment his fingers touched her skirt, her left hand trapped his wrist while her right hand struck down at the joint. Basic Krav Maga. Lesson number 3. Joints are meant to bend one way. Make them bend the other. Chase dropped to his knees, cradling his wrist. It bent at an angle that made several students turn away. Others kept filming, too shocked to lower their phones. "Chase!" Logan Fitzgerald dropped his phone and charged forward. "You crazy!" He never finished the sentence. Autumn pivoted, using his momentum against him. Her elbow connected with his nose in a wet crunch. Blood exploded across his face. Like abstract art, he stumbled backward, hands flying to his face. Livestream still running from where his phone had fallen. The third attacker, a linebacker named Brett, hesitated for half a second too long. Autumn's knee drove into his solar plexus with surgical precision. He folded like paper, gasping for air that wouldn't come. The fourth boy, Marcus, took 3 steps backward, then turned and ran. He made it 4 steps before tripping over his own feet in panic, sprawling across the asphalt. 17 seconds. That's how long the entire fight lasted. 17 seconds to dismantle 3 years of terror. Autumn stood in the center of the circle, breathing steady, stance ready. Her jacket hadn't even come unzipped. Around her, Chase writhed on the ground. Logan bled. Brett wheezed, and Marcus scrambled away on hands and knees. "My mom was Israeli Special Forces," she said, voice carrying across the silent crowd. 8 years of Krav Maga, every day after school, every weekend. Even when she was dying, she made sure I could protect myself. She looked down at Chase. "I warned you. No means no." The silence shattered. Students started talking all at once. Some cheered. Some looked horrified. Emma Novak stood at the edge of the circle, still recording, tears streaming down her face. "Call 911, someone shouted. "She broke his wrist." "Did you see that? Did you see what she did? He had it coming. They all did." Through the chaos, Autumn heard a car door slam. Officer Patricia Wong crossed the street, hand on her radio. She'd seen everything from her patrol car. Every second recorded on her dash cam. "Nobody move," Officer Wong commanded. "Everyone back up. Give them space." She looked at the scene. 3 boys on the ground. 1 fled, and a 17-year-old girl standing calm in the middle of it all. "She attacked us," Chase managed to gasp through his pain. "That psycho broke my wrist. Arrest her." Officer Wong looked at him, then at the crowd of witnesses, then at Autumn. "Is that what happened?" "Check your dash cam," Autumn said simply. "You were parked right there. You saw everything." A flicker of something, respect, maybe, crossed the officer's face. "I did. I saw 4 males surround a female student. I saw the lead male reach for her in what appeared to be a sexual assault. I saw her defend herself with reasonable force." "Reasonable." Chase tried to stand, still cradling his wrist. "She broke my—" "You grabbed her skirt." Officer Wong cut him off. "That's sexual assault. She defended herself. Would you like to press charges against each other? Because I know which one of you would end up in handcuffs." More sirens approached. 2 ambulances and another police car. The crowd grew larger as students who'd been inside came out to see the aftermath. "I want to press charges," Chase snarled. "My father will—" "Is the principal." Officer Wong finished. "I know exactly who your father is, Mr. Morrison. I also know about the ranking system. We've had complaints for years, but no one would testify. She looked around at the crowd, at all the phones still recording. Looks like that might change today. Emma Novak stepped forward. I'll testify. I have 2 years of evidence, 47 videos, screenshots of the ranking database, records of every girl they've hurt. So will I, another girl called out. Me too. And me. One by one. Girls stepped forward, not just the 2s and 3s that Chase had broken. Even some 8s and 9s who'd stayed silent to protect their status. By the time the paramedics loaded Chase into the ambulance, 23 girls had identified themselves as witnesses. Principal Morrison arrived as they were taking his son away. His face went from confused to furious to terrified, as Officer Wong explained the situation. "This is a misunderstanding," he said. "Boys will be boys. My son would never— Your son live-streamed his own crime." Officer Wong interrupted. "And apparently, he's been doing this for years under your watch. Internal Affairs and the school board will be very interested in why complaints never seem to reach your desk." Logan was loaded into the second ambulance, still bleeding and moaning about his nose. Brett had recovered enough to walk, but was being checked by paramedics. Marcus sat in the back of the police car, apparently having confessed everything in his panic. Autumn hadn't moved from her spot. She stood like a statue, watching it all unfold. Emma approached her slowly, like approaching a wild animal. "Are you okay?" Emma asked softly. "I'm fine." Autumn's voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly as the adrenaline faded. "Are you okay? You stood up to him. That was brave." Emma laughed, a sound caught between joy and tears. "I've been waiting 3 years for someone like you. Someone who wouldn't just take it. Someone who would fight back." "You've been fighting too," Autumn said. "Just differently. Those recordings, that took courage." "Can I hug you?" Emma asked suddenly. "I know we don't really know each other, but I need to hug someone who understands." Autumn nodded. Emma wrapped her arms around her. And suddenly, they were both crying. Not from sadness or fear, but from release. 3 years of terror for Emma. 3 weeks of hell for Autumn. All ending in 17 seconds of violence that should never have been necessary. "Ladies," Officer Wong approached them. "I'll need statements from both of you. And Emma, we'll need those recordings." "I have copies," Emma said. "Multiple backups. I knew this day would come eventually. I just didn't know it would be today." The next few hours blurred together. Police statements, calls to parents. Autumn's father arrived white-faced and shaking, pulling her into a hug that lasted forever. "Why didn't you tell me?" he whispered. "Baby, why didn't you say something? You had enough to deal with," Autumn said. "And I knew if it got bad enough, I could handle it. Mom made sure of that." Christopher Reeves looked at his daughter, really looked at her, saw the warrior his wife had trained, saw the strength that had been forged in love and tempered by loss. "She would be so proud," he said, "so proud of you." By evening, the story had exploded beyond Westbrook Academy. Someone had compiled the videos, Logan's live stream, Emma's recordings, dashcam footage, and dozens of student phones. The full picture emerged a systematic campaign of sexual harassment, enabled by school administration. That had terrorized girls for years. Justice for Autumn started trending within hours. Then, Westbrook ranking scandal. Then, no means no. The news vans arrived before sunset. Reporters wanted statements, interviews, exclusives. Autumn refused them all. She sat in her living room with her father, Emma, and Officer Wong, who'd stayed to help coordinate with Child Services and the district attorney. They want to charge Chase with sexual assault, Officer Wong explained. With the live stream and dashcam footage, it's a solid case. He's 18, so he'll be tried as an adult. Good, Christopher Reeves said firmly. What about the school, the principal? Federal investigation, Officer Wong said. Turns out the ranking system might violate Title IX, and there's evidence Principal Morrison actively suppressed complaints. He'll likely face charges, too. Emma's phone hadn't stopped buzzing. 53 girls have come forward in the last 4 hours, she said, from our school and others, apparently. Chase bragged about the system to friends at other schools. They started their own versions. It's going to be big, Officer Wong said. This could change everything. That night, Autumn couldn't sleep. She sat in her room, looking at her mother's photo. The news played on her laptop, story after story about Westbrook Academy. Her phone had hundreds of messages, some supportive, some threatening, most from strangers who'd seen the video. She turned off all the screens and went to the garage. In the darkness, she moved through her forms, punch, block, knee, elbow, the movements that had saved her, the gift her mother had given her. I did what you taught me, she whispered to the empty air. I waited until I had no choice. Then I ended it. The garage door opened. Her father stood silhouetted against the house lights. Can't sleep either, he asked. Too much in my head. He came in, sat on the weight bench. I've been thinking about your mom, about what she would say right now. What do you think she'd say? Christopher smiled sadly. She'd say, you did what was necessary, that defending yourself is never wrong. But she'd also say that the real victory isn't in the breaking of bones. It's in the breaking of the system that made it necessary. The system is breaking, Autumn said. Emma's recordings, the other girls coming forward. It's all falling apart. Because you stood up. Because you said no and meant it. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Christopher asked, what happens now? At school. I don't know, Autumn admitted. Everything will be different. Do you want to transfer? We could... No. Autumn's voice was firm. I'm not running. There are girls there who need to see that it's possible to fight back and win, who need to know they're not alone. Monday came too soon. Autumn walked into Westbrook Academy to find everything changed. Principal Morrison's office was empty, under investigation. Chase's locker had been cleaned out. The infamous ranking list had been torn down and burned in a student-led bonfire Friday night. But the biggest change was in the hallways. Girls walked differently, taller, louder, taking up space they'd been afraid to claim for years. Autumn. A group of freshman girls waved her over. We started a self-defense club. Would you teach us some moves? I'm not a teacher, Autumn said. You're better, one of them said. You're proof it works. By lunch, the self-defense club had 60 members. The school board, scrambling to contain the scandal, approved it immediately and offered to pay for professional instructors. I know someone, Officer Wong said when she stopped by to check on things. Former IDF teaches Krav Maga. She'd be perfect. Emma had become something of a celebrity, too. Her recordings were evidence in 17 different investigations across 4 states. She'd been invited to speak at conferences about documenting abuse. But at lunch, she just sat with Autumn, eating cafeteria pizza and trying to feel normal. "It's weird," Emma said. "For 3 years, I was invisible. A 2. Now everyone wants to talk to me." "You were never a 2, Autumn said. "That was just a number assigned by broken boys who needed to categorize things they couldn't control." Speaking of broken boys, Emma nodded toward the door. Logan Fitzgerald walked in, nose bandaged, arm in a sling from his fall. He saw them and quickly looked away, hurrying to a far table where he sat alone. His friends had abandoned him. The power structure that had protected him was gone. "I almost feel sorry for him," Emma said. "Don't," Autumn replied. "He made choices. Now he lives with consequences." That afternoon, local news wanted to interview Autumn again. A morning show offered $50,000 for an exclusive. Book agents called about memoir deals. She turned them all down. "Which?" her father asked. "You could help a lot of people by sharing your story." "The story's already out there," Autumn said. "On 1,000 phones and 1,000,000 screens. I don't need to monetize my trauma. I need to heal from it." Instead, she worked with Officer Wong and a team of advocates to create a presentation about consent, harassment, and self-defense. They would take it to schools across the state, teaching kids that no means no, that ranking humans is dehumanizing, and that sometimes defending yourself is necessary. The legal proceedings moved faster than expected. Chase's lawyer tried to argue that the wrist break was excessive force. The prosecutor played the dash cam footage showing 4 boys surrounding 1 girl. The jury took less than an hour to convict. 5 years for sexual assault, 3 years for conspiracy to commit harassment, 2 years for the ranking system under a rarely used federal statute about systematic discrimination. 10 years total. Chase Morrison, golden boy of Westbrook Academy, would spend his 20s in prison. His father faced his own trial. Evidence showed he'd destroyed complaints, threatened victims' families, and enabled his son's behavior for years. He was sentenced to 3 years and would never work in education again. The other boys got lighter sentences: probation, community service, mandatory counseling. They would carry records that would follow them to college, to jobs, to life. Actions had consequences. But the real change came in smaller ways. Girls stopped crossing hallways to avoid certain boys. They stopped accepting drinks they didn't open themselves. They stopped apologizing for saying no. Boys started asking before assuming, started calling out friends who crossed lines, started understanding that consent wasn't complicated. It was just listening and respecting. 6 months later, Autumn stood in the Westbrook Academy gym, now transformed into a dojo. 50 girls in white uniforms faced her, ready to learn. On the wall hung a photo, not of Autumn, but of Staff Sergeant Sarah Reeves in her IDF uniform. "Today we learn the wrist break," Autumn announced. "But first, we learn when to use it. My mother always said that the best fight is the one that never happens. But when someone won't listen to your words, won't respect your boundaries, won't take no for an answer, then you make them listen with actions." She demonstrated the technique slowly, carefully, making sure everyone understood not just the how, but the why. "Remember," she said, "this isn't about being tough. It's about being safe. It's about knowing that your body is yours. Your space is yours. And anyone who tries to take that without permission will face consequences." Emma, now her assistant instructor, helped students practice the movement. She'd found her own strength in teaching others. in showing that survival could become power. After class, as students filtered out, Autumn noticed a new face in the doorway. A freshman girl, small and scared-looking, clutching a crumpled piece of paper. "Can I help you?" Autumn asked. The girl held out the paper. It was a ranking list. A new one. Different boys, same system, different school. "It's starting at Riverside High," the girl whispered. "My cousin goes there. They're ranking girls, 1 to 10, just like here." Autumn took the paper, studied it. Part of her was angry that the lesson hadn't spread far enough. Part of her was unsurprised. Systems of power don't die easily. "Give me your cousin's number," Autumn said. "Tell her we're coming. Tell her she's not alone. Tell her it ends now." The girl's face lit up with hope. "Really? You'll help?" "We'll all help," Emma said, joining them. "That's what we do now. We stand together." That night, Autumn sat with her father, planning a trip to Riverside High. They would bring Officer Wong, bring the presentation, bring the story of what happened when girls said no and meant it. "You've become an activist," her father said with pride. "Your mother would—" "I know." Autumn smiled. She'd be proud, but she'd also remind me that this isn't about being a hero. It's about making sure no girl ever has to break a wrist just to keep her dignity. Her phone buzzed. Another message from another girl at another school. Another ranking system. Another call for help. Autumn looked at her mother's photo, then at her hands. Hands that had been trained for violence but chose to teach. Hands that had broken bones but now built hope. "Ready for another fight?" Emma asked, reading the message over her shoulder. "Always," Autumn said. "But this time, we fight differently. We fight with words and laws and solidarity. We fight by teaching girls they're worth more than a number, and boys that girls are humans, not scores." She typed back to the girl, "We're coming. Stay strong. Document everything. And remember, you are not a number. You are not alone. And anyone who tries to rank you is about to learn what happens when you mess with someone who knows their worth." The war against the ranking system had begun, not with violence, but with voices, not with breaking bones, but with breaking silence. And at the center of it all, a girl who'd lost her mother, but found her strength, teaching others that sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is the simplest no, and mean it.